If you're new to the world of fitness, you've probably heard of hypertrophy, right? But what is hypertrophy? In today's video, I'm going to explain exactly what it is and how you can achieve it. Hypertrophy occurs when you stimulate your muscle tissue. When you do a series of exercises that target a single muscle, for example the biceps has the ability to contract, signaling an increase in protein production in the muscle. These muscle contractions stimulate the mTOR pathway, the AKT pathway, and thus increase protein synthesis. In addition to a balanced diet, quality exercise is essential. There are two characteristics of resistance exercise that stimulate the muscle for better development. The eccentric contraction, which tends to be more inflammatory, is the repetition to failure that causes pain, turgor, loss of function, redness, heat, training to the pump. This is inflammation, which can be measured by interleukin-6, but you don't need to know what that is. Another feature is concentric contraction, which we call the cycle of decreased vascularization. When you decrease vascularization, when you get into a situation where you have low perfusion, that also works as a signal for you to have hypertrophy. If your training was good, it was efficient, now you have to feed those muscles, and they will synthesize protein in excess. And it's now that you need to eat well and supplement if there's a need for you to signal a greater increase in protein. When you put all these situations together, your muscle, which is always being destroyed and rebuilt, starts to build more than it destroys. And is there a way to stop the destruction? Understand that muscle doesn't grow like a building, where you build floor by floor. Muscle grows like a remodel, where you tear down one room and build a bigger one. Tear down the kitchen and build a bigger one. In short, if you stop breaking down, you can no longer build, and you have to understand that. The breakdown of protein. The breakdown of muscle, not necessarily through exercise, but biochemically within the muscle, has to happen. A lot of people say you have to invent inhibitors for this process, but it's no use. In order for the muscle to grow, it has to destroy itself. It's this balance that is slightly out of whack for protein synthesis that makes you gain muscle mass. Can you imagine how much muscle you can build in a day? With a normal workout, you can build between 5 and 25 grams of muscle per day. That may not sound like much, but if you gain between 5 and 25 grams of muscle every day and add it up over a year, you'll have gained 10 kilos of muscle. That's a significant amount. If you look at scientific references on the rate at which athletes gain muscle mass, you'll see that their annual average is between 2.2 kilos of muscle mass. If you look at professional Olympic athletes, you'll see that most of them are over 30 years old because it takes years, 10, 15, 20 years to get to where they want to be. In other words, they've gained 20 kilos in that time. An average of 2.2 kilos a year. They're making a living from it. They're professional bodybuilders. That's why it's the sport of patience, why bodybuilding is the sport of adults. Of course, you may have seen someone younger than 20 or 25 with a very strong body. But just like Albert Einstein wrote the theory of relativity and won Nobel Prizes for his discoveries, it doesn't mean that all of us who studied physics in high school will be able to become future Einsteins or win Nobel Prizes. Just as many people trained for 5, 10, or 15 years and didn't achieve the physique of, say, Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's the truth. I'm not saying this to upset you. I'm saying that you should always refine your level of choice. Why is that? Because in many cases, those who practice only think about size, and more size. But what's the point of being big and strong if your body is out of proportion, you're still training, and your muscles are still growing? A good body with defined muscles is ultimately healthier and better, and it's much nicer to choose a good physique than a big ugly one. Why is that? The first feeling we get when we start bodybuilding is to compare ourselves to other people's physiques. I need to have his body. I need to be strong like him. I need to be his size. No. First, you have to build your physical harmony, build your silhouette, show your visual identity. That's what's important. From there, you start to like your physique, and it makes you want to train more and more. Follow your diet. Follow what is necessary for you to gain muscle mass. Remember that stimulating your mind is more important than anything else. And if you can maintain this in a healthy way over time, One day you'll wake up and look in the mirror and realize that your arms or legs are much bigger and more defined. Don't train just for the results or to compare yourself to others. Train for yourself, train well, eat well, and you will reap the rewards. Use someone famous as an inspiration, not an opponent. You may be at their feet, but that won't stop you from practicing. What about you? Let us know how training has changed your life in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel and see you in the next Fit Fundamentals video.